which is our 10th ever cohort here at Dog Tag. And Dog Tag is known as both Dog Tag Inc. and Dog Tag Bakery because we're located in Georgetown and we are a bakery downstairs, but upstairs we run a fellowship program focused on business and entrepreneurship for post 9/11 service disabled veterans, military spouses, and caregivers. And this is a 5-month full-time fellowship program. It comes with a monthly stipend. And during this program, you're going to take Georgetown University classes in business administration, which culminates in a certificate. You also get the chance to go through rotations in the bakery itself, where you learn how to do operations, you learn how to do finance, strategy, development, marketing, and the entire time we have guest speakers coming in and teaching learning labs. And now I'm going to let some of the fellows speak for themselves about what Dog Tag's done for them and what their ideas are kind of on what they're going to do next, because they're graduating in 2 weeks. Very exciting. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Christy. I actually just medically retired from the Air Force about 3 weeks ago, and I was not planning on a medical retirement like many of you probably are not, so I had no idea what I was going to do with my life, and wasn't sure what I'd be capable of physically. And so when I learned about the Dog Tag program through Walter Reed, it was sort of a godsend for me, and it has been a complete game changer in my life. So I started the program thinking that I wanted to be a business owner and an entrepreneur, not entirely sure what that meant, but I also didn't have a specific passion. I have lots of interests, but I wasn't sure what my passion was. So through the course of this program, I have not only discovered my passion, but I have a business plan in place. I have pitched the idea to multiple folks, and Dog Tag has connected me with real movers and shakers, CEOs, presidents of companies, investors, people who are behind my idea, which happens to be something I'm calling Bark Bar DC. So I love food and I love animals, and this is going to be a combination of a dog park, bar, and restaurant. So hopefully within the next year or so, you will see and hear about the Bark Bar DC happening. And it's all thanks to the Dog Tag program.
I'm David. I retired from the Army. I was a chaplain in the Army. In fact, I worked at the old Walter Reed for a couple of years back in the day. And my wife and I, my wife is also a clergy person, we had kicked around an idea of having a bakery, and we wanted to call it Pastor's Pies. And the idea is it's not just about the pie. We also wanted to create community space, a gathering place where people can come and have different kinds of events. The problem is we didn't know anything about commercial baking, and we didn't know anything about business. So when I found the Dog Tag program, it seemed like a perfect fit. Not only am I learning the business skills and how to start a small business, but also getting some time down in the bakery and getting hands in the dough and learning about recipes and all that. So it's been a great experience, and I'm really thankful that the program is there, and I appreciate everything that we've done. Okay, so we decided to do it in phases, because one thing is making the pies, doing it on a consistent basis is kind of a challenge, and we're not ready to set up a brick and mortar store yet. So what we're going to do next year is start with farmers markets, and so that will help us establish our brand, but also give us lots of practice making those pies, getting the recipes down. And then when we are ready to do the brick and mortar, then we'll explore some places in Virginia to do that.
My name is Tiki, and like Christy said, I had planned on at least 30 years in the military, because I think I'm wired a little differently, and the military seemed to fit me very well. So I was very discombobulated when I got cut short at just about 9 years. I fell into despair. Nothing worked. I was in so much agony with what I was experiencing, and every treatment for me did not seem to work. I found makeup. I started to do makeup to hide what I was feeling, because I hated the feeling of, oh, are you okay? So makeup for me was an opportunity to hide those feelings while still appearing friendly. But after several treatments that did not work, I started to figure out some things on my own. Catering to my pain and what was best for me, other than just medication, because we all know you take at least 10 pills a day that don't work, that give you more side effects to other stuff. Yeah. So with that, I decided to come up with this idea of a holistic wellness spa. So using treatments like acupuncture, massage therapy. The VA will not pay for that, but we know it works better than some of the pills. So my whole idea is to reduce inflammation in the body, thus giving you or anybody, myself specifically, a better quality of life. So if you don't have pain, you can afford to look good and feel good. So Dog Tag seems to have done just that for me. It gives me a platform to express what I had in my head and did not know how to bring out now. There's a lot of research that I still need to do, but creating a business plan to make that happen. Yay, Dog Tag.
Okay, my name is Ronnie. I was in the Army. My story is a little bit different in that I'm using Dog Tag to improve my career trajectory. When I got out of the service, I kind of fell into contracting. That happens to a lot of people. And it got to be kind of a rut for me. I would even call it kind of a depressive experience because I just kept kind of falling into the next opportunity. So I took the program as kind of a hard stop to that kind of lifestyle, so I can get a chance to reset, get some exposure, some motivation, some inspiration, which I definitely have. That being said, we all do submit a capstone project, and so the concept I'm working on is a retail front for veteran products, because so often veteran products, you only see them online. And they don't have a brick and mortar exposure, so I think it would be a lot different experience if you actually saw the tangible thing you were going to buy. And so it would be an opportunity for smaller scale producers to be able to showcase their product in basically the national capital region. And so we would source out of a lot of where people end up when they leave the military, a lot of Georgia, a lot of Texas. And then the thought is that we can convert the DC margins back to those communities at a higher rate, if that makes sense. So yeah, and I would say for me, Dog Tag, it really bridged the gap between concept and execution, because the business idea and execution, it seemed just really far away, so far away that I couldn't even estimate the distance. And over time, over exposure to different ideas and getting more comfortable, in a business pure environment, that gap is pretty small for me now. Things seem a lot more achievable, if that makes sense.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah. Hopefully you can all hear me. It's nice to see some familiar faces. Just about 6 months ago, I was in your shoes as a patient that was in a medical board from Walter Reed, and I was one of the patients of Karen's, and so it's kind of surreal for me to have gone through the program and now come back and be speaking to you all. For me, Dog Tag was a great transition program for me to go from sort of the military team to these wonderful people here, which is my cohort. And so for Dog Tag, I was able to continue developing a nonprofit that I had created that focuses on strengthening the mental health of first responders. So I deeply care about veterans as well. So they if they're a first responder for veterans, they're welcome as well. We offer a variety of services, and so Dog Tag has allowed me to learn the fundamentals of business, and then also just kind of continue developing different services that I can offer. So Dog Tag has been extremely helpful for me, and I'm glad that I've built another connection, and that's going to be a lifelong family.
Hi, I'm Adela Wilson. Unlike my other fellows, I am a spouse and caregiver to my husband and my child with a disability. When I came to Dog Tag, I had cared for them so long and I had lost myself. So what Dog Tag has given to me is a regeneration of my enthusiasm and ability to see opportunities available to me. I'm back in school. I also am preparing a business case and projections, but I'm more in the process of pursuing my education and becoming an entrepreneur later on in life.
I'm Sarah Yazewski. I am a Coast Guard spouse. I'm kind of a career spouse, so to speak. My husband put his retirement letter in a couple weeks ago. And so I have spent the past 15, 16 years following him around the country and not really being able to develop my own career based on the fact that every time that I would get settled in something, we had to move. So for me, dog tag has been about really figuring out who I am and what I'm passionate about, and actually working on the confidence aspect of being able to know whether or not what I'm capable of doing, and being able to speak up and make a difference in my community. I was diagnosed with autism when I was 32, 6 months after my son was. And that's actually a very common thing that girls and women on the autism spectrum tend to be diagnosed later in life, because the girls and women are different than boys. And so at Hill Day, I spoke to a staffer for one of the congressmen that are on the co-founder of the Autism Caucus, and gained more information about actually how little resources are being given towards girls and women. So my business plan is to work on advocacy through writing a collaborative book with other women who were diagnosed as adults, to help to spread the awareness of this, and to eventually be able to advocate for change at a larger societal level.
And Hill Day is a day where we take all the fellows to Capitol Hill to talk with legislators and staffers. Yeah.
Because of the nature of the program and the individuals, we call them learning labs that come, you are going to meet people that will open doors. It's all about networking in business. When you know people that know people that know people, that's how you get to getting what you need, or the investors that you need, by making those connections through the people that come. Or even in here, getting to know people I think that's how it works.
Yeah, you get exposure, and then it's your job to do the work to get the investment.
So they don't bring, like, this is a list of investment. No, they don't have that. But oh, LinkedIn. If you don't have LinkedIn, get one. Because you are going to meet a lot of people with vast networks. So right now, I know 14 people. I also have access to their networks, to include everybody else here. So somebody knows somebody that can help you.
So.
My name's Kevin. I'm medically retired from the Air Force. I always go with my idea today because I have so many different things. So I would tell you, my passion is mentorship. And ultimately, one day I want to start a school so focused on mentorship and tutoring and vocational training. But today, my idea that I'm working with is starting a greenhouse farm, and which is pretty much self-sustainable, and find a way to give mentorship within that.
Hi, I'm Ann Johnson. I was a military spouse, and I'm moving to Minnesota in a couple months, looking to launch a business called Minnesota Mindfulness Network, and I'll be the sole teacher for the first couple of years, teaching mindfulness-based stress reduction, which has a lot of scientific research behind all sorts of medical conditions, especially PTSD. And I'm looking to network with other teachers and eventually work my way through more certifications so that I'm eligible to be a small business linked up with the VA.
You have to Google post-traumatic winning this afternoon when you get out of here.
I will.
It'll help you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, guys. Hi, my name is Brandy Lambert, and I am in the process of launching a nonprofit organization that is geared towards the well-being of the neonatal intensive care unit families. Not necessarily the infants, but their families.
And she's a spousing caregiver.
Oh, yes, I'm a caregiver to my veteran husband, and we have 2 small children at home, so thank you.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline Melton. I am a retired Marine Corps officer, and I decided to come to Dog Tag to expand upon a business my husband and I started earlier this year in February. It's a project management and construction management consulting services.
Talk to me before you leave.
Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Kate, Air Force spouse, and I'm creating a resource for military spouses to try and take out some of the roadblocks to voting. A lot of us vote absentee, and also create action items for advocacy.
All right.
And just how they apply.
Yes, yeah. And so right now, we're actually finishing up the application process to start our January 2020 cohort, but we're going to be opening up applications again in April and May for our, what?
It closes in April anyway. They open up the application in December and it closes in April.
Yeah, okay.
And they start interviewing in April.
Yeah. So anyway, but you can go online on our website I'm going to hand out flyers as well, and we have another cohort starting in June or July. So, yeah. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
They're great.
Thank you.
They do a great job.